how do savings accounts actually work? In today's episode, I'm going to be breaking that down and going through this to help you understand why you should have a savings account. Is it worth the hassle? It'll actually earn you a little bit of money, not a lot, but you'll get some money that you would not have otherwise got. So we're going to cover that today and help you to find this out. In today's episode, we're going to cover a few topics. Let me just give you an overview so you know what to expect. What a savings account is. It's quite important to understand what it is, how it works, the types of savings accounts that are out there, how interest works, opening a savings account, managing your savings account, how to access the money once it's in your savings account, any tax implications, and risks and considerations to think about. This will be a nice jam-packed episode, so I'm hoping that will help you, especially if you're thinking about putting a little bit of money away towards your next savings project or even towards your future. Don't worry, everything I spoke about today will be in a resources sheet. What that means is you don't have to make notes while you're listening to me. I'm going to give you this entire presentation that I'm going through today, as well as some extra notes. Just go to zulftalks.com and you can download the presentation for free. You go to the first button there, says show resources. You click on that and it'll let you put your email address in, and then I can send you that information. So you've got like a load of extra stuff. It's all aimed at finances, working for yourself and that kind of arena. So I'm hoping it assists you. But anyway, what is a savings account? Well, the savings account is quite a normal account. So think about this. In the last episode, we spoke about accounts and we mentioned how to get a bank account. And I said to you, you know what, if you've got a bank account, have you thought about a savings account to go alongside it? So in the many years ago when I used to work for NatWest, there used to be an option for people to open a bank account, and I used to explain to them this, but I'll give you the exact explanation, like I'll go back to my old working days. So if you have a bank account and you're putting money in your bank account, you've got a card for that bank account. Say for example you got paid this month and you got £1,000 for work. In your current account you have £1,000 sitting there. Wouldn't it be nice to have £200 of that going to another account? You got access to both of them on your online banking, so you can see the money going in and it sits there, so it's a little bit safer. If anything was to happen with your bank card and you were to lose any money, you've got your savings account money sitting there, so you've got a little bit of a safety net. So that's one option of it. As well as if you do that every month for a year, that £200 that you add there will slowly build up. You get a little bit of interest. Interest is basically when you put money on the side, you'll earn a little bit of money for it. So we'll talk about that in further on. But a savings account is just somewhere to put the money. You can access it quite easily. You can move money to your main account. You can take it out from the cash machine. You can use it as normal. So that's what a savings account is. It just gives you a little bit of earnings and encourages you to save a little bit of money, because it's like out of sight or out of mind kind of arena. So that's what a savings account is. Is that going to be a good option for you? Types of savings accounts. So there's loads of savings accounts out there. Because there's so many savings accounts, it can be a little bit confusing. You can have a simple instant access savings account. What that means is it's instant access. So if you put money into it, you can go in and take the money out whenever you want. There's no penalty. You don't get charged. You won't lose interest. It's just while the money's sitting in that account, it'll earn you money. If it's not, it won't. So that's like an instant access savings account. What about if you want to have an account and you're happy to put your money away for a year or 2 years? There's some savings accounts which allow you to do that. What those mean is you put money into the savings account and you won't touch it for a year. If you don't, you get a bonus. So you get like extra £20 or 2% on top of that. So for example, if you had a couple of £100 in there, you'll earn a little bit more money than you would normally do if you lock it away for a bit. So that's you can call that not limited access, but like a type of a bond. They call it different names, but I'll try and keep it as simple as possible, especially if you're new to banking. So you've got instant access. You've got accounts where you can put money away for a little while. You've got third option where you can have money put away for a longer time, like years, 6 years, 7 years. And then you've got other savings accounts as well where you can put money in and then you can't access money until a certain date. So like if you turn 18 or if you retire, or there's loads of different types. So that covers the types of accounts quite nicely. How does interest work? So I touched on this a little bit earlier, But the best way I find to understand how interest works is to use this option. So for example, I've got some money. I got some money. Wow, that was money in pound cents. That's a pound. So say for example, I've got £10 here. A nice crisp note of £10. If you're watching this on the visual episode, you will see this. If you're not, you can hear that's the money. The plastic these days. The money is no longer not paper. Do you remember the days it used to be paper? You leave them in your jeans, you put them in the washing machine, and they just spell. Oh, I lost some money there. Okay, so yeah, they've started to make them out like a polymer plastic type thing. So yeah, what's the topic? I've gone off side tangent there. How interest works. Okay, so this is £10. If I keep it here, I don't get anything, but I can get it out instantly. But if I have it here, which is like another account, think of it like another bank account. If I have it here instead of here, I still have access to it, but while it's there, I earn a little bit of money, like a couple of pence every couple of months. If you're lucky with the current interest rates, you might earn £1. You might earn, over a year or 2 years, you might earn 50, 60 pence, 0.0 something percent the last time I checked. But that's money you wouldn't have otherwise had. So if you've got more money, that might be okay, I think. No? So if you have more money and you're thinking about saving that money, you want to move it from one place to another. You've got 3 lots here. I only need 1 this month, so I'll keep 1 here. I'll put these 2 in the savings account. While they're sitting in the savings account, I've spent all of that. I thought, you know what, I need a little bit more money, so I use this money as well. I use that money, I've got that sitting there, and that's while it was there, it earned me some money. Also, while this money was in there, if it was there for a month before I took it out, for that month I would have earned something. So that's basically how it works, interest. And there's a wider piece about that. While the money is sitting in your savings account, they can use that to borrow to other people, but then there's a wider piece around that. I'll do a separate dedicated episode about that, which will help you explain that. So that's basically how interest works. What else do we look at? Opening a savings account. How easy is it to open a savings account? It's relatively easy. If you already have a bank account, you can just go on your online banking and apply for a savings account. Look for a key few things, such as, if you don't want to pay for it, instant access and no charges, and you'll often see an interest rate. Let's have a quick look and see what's available at the moment, so we can see what's out there. So I've brought up a quick website, NatWest. I used to work for NatWest back in the day. Have I ever mentioned that? Savings. I keep going back to NatWest. Okay, so, well, technically RBS, but yeah, NatWest. Savings, you can see here, there's an option for a savings account. So when you come down, you'll see here something you can do your fancy marketing. Oh yeah, you got this and that. Now, which savings account is the one that you should go for? Well, there's no real right answer, but what did that not bring up? Okay, see our savings products. Okay, why did that need 2 clicks? Make it more. Okay, we go see that. Okay, so remember we talked about different accounts. This one is a fixed term, fixed rate savings account. So if you lock your money away for a certain amount of time, you get a certain amount of interest, 4.9%, not bad. Digital regular saver, you get instant access, great in a habit saving, higher interest rate up to, yeah. So you can get money out of that. It's not locked in, but the interest rate's going to be instant access. See that here? Instant access. You can save between that amount, apply online in 5 minutes. Interest rate is, okay. So 6.17% to 6%, depending on your balances, up to £5,000. So they do that quite often. It's like they'll give you a certain amount of interest for the first little bit of money to make it look interesting. If you're keeping lower money in there, it's fine. But if you have higher balances, it might not work out for you because you've got a couple of £1,000. You maybe want to look at another account. Well, not a couple of, but 5,000 is quite a large saving. But then you want to look at things like ISAs. So ISA is basically individual savings account. I think they call it RK, in America they call it something else. Roth K1A something. Roth something. I obviously get the American name. Let me know in the comments what the American name is. So yeah, you can open it quite easily. There's different types of accounts there. How you manage your savings accounts, the main thing, like I gave you the example earlier, if you've got some money, if you've got extra money that you know you're not going to spend this month, rather than keep it in your current account, consider putting it in a savings account. It's a second place you're keeping it. It's not immediately visible there, so if you're not seeing it, you'll hopefully feel like you don't spend as much money. Budgeting, all that comes into mind. We'll cover that in later episodes, but that's something you can consider. Accessing your funds, like I mentioned, you can actually get the money from the account, transfer it to the second account, take it back out again, do as many times as you want. If it's instant access, there won't be any charges for that, so you can just find a nice balance for you. And some accounts are online only, so if they're online only, you will need to access it on the phone or mobile online banking. You can't do it in a bank account through the branch, so they normally give you a bit more interest there, because they're basically not paying for staff to help manage their account. There's a little bit of saving for the bank there. That's something to consider. And access to funds is generally easy unless you lock it away. If it's a bond or locked away and they say it's locked away for 2 years, you can't access it. If you do, it's a really high penalty, so it's not really worth accessing the money. That's something to consider on these things. Taxes. You can have a certain amount of savings without paying tax, and this is different in different parts of the world. Should we have a quick look at the guidelines? I think we should. So I'm just having a quick look at directgov.uk, which is the UK version, the best place to check out these kind of things. So most people can earn some interest from their savings without paying tax. Let's have a look at the main stuff. Starting rate for savings. You may also get up to £5,000 of interest and not have to pay tax on it. This is starting rate of savings. So already £5,000 of interest. That's interest, that's not savings. So for you to earn £5,000 of interest in a year, you're going to have, let me do a quick maths, let me get a calculator up. So if you're getting 5%, okay, so let's times that by, let me know if I'm doing this maths right. So if I'm earning £5,000 of interest, that means I'm getting, so that's going to work out at nearly £100,000, and you'll earn £5,000 worth of interest. So if you've got £100,000 lying around, you're probably not watching this video because you already know what you're doing with your money. Or if you've inherited some money, that's a whole new kettle of fish. One thing that I'll explain to you is, in savings, it can get very complicated very quickly. If you, for example, had money and you passed away, or your family passed away and they handed money down, and then there's like wills and who has a right to the money, have they got the right amount of tax this year? If they're getting that money, will they have to pay tax in order to get the money, and inheritance, and it gets very complicated. The best way to think about it is, if you're earning or you've got savings, you pay tax on your earnings, and then if you've got savings and you're earning over a certain amount and you've got too much money, then they'll start taxing you on that. Each year you fill out a tax return, and then on that you say, this is how much savings I've got, and they work it out for you. But if you're looking at this type of situation, like we just looked at the website there, it's like what, £100,000. So if you're 100,000, you're fine. And even then, it is not that bad, because then any income above that, they got different brackets. So like you pile on little bits of interest, and then it works out and you're paying money. The other guy's example here, you earn £16,000 of wages and get £200 interest on your savings. Your personal allowance is £12,570. It's used up by the first £12,570 of your wages. The remaining £3,430 of your wages, 16,000 minus 12,570 reduces your starting rate of savings by 3,430. The remaining, your remaining starting rate for savings is 1,570. Yeah, those two numbers minus is that, okay? This means you will not have to pay tax on your £200 savings interest. Yeah, because you only made, basically that 200 is less than the 5,000, so yeah. But this is probably better visual. I'm doing this on the video version of this podcast as well, so you can have a look at that. But the main moral of this story is, if you're making a lot of money, there will be tax, but you'll probably have an accountant and you work this out. So this is more aimed at the starting people. And yeah, you're also allowed to earn a certain amount of money without paying tax, which is a 12,570, which can increase in further years. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Let's have a look at the next topic in our episode. Oh yeah, so this is nicely onto risks and considerations. So if you're going to put money in your account, if you know you're fine for a year, have money in an account that's locked up for a year. But if you're going to put money in an account and you need it, or something comes up, you can't access the money. If you do access it, the risk is you're going to pay a lot of interest or a penalty or a charge. So make sure you know what you're doing. This comes down to budgeting, how much money you've got saved. In our example, if I know let's use an example. So say, for example, I know I'm only going to spend this amount of money this month. I'm going to put double here. I'm going to put double here, because this is the total money I've got. I'm going to put half here, half here. I spend this, that's still sitting there. And I know next month I've got another load of money coming. Like that. And I do 2 again. Does that make sense? So this is my current account, instant access, I'm spending that money. Now here you'll notice, because it's been another month, I've got 4 here. So now I know I can put some of this in somewhere where I don't need it. Okay, that's gone. So that's in like another place. That's here. I'll get 4 more coming here. Hopefully this makes some sort of type of sense. I got 4 more coming here. I'll do the same thing again. 2 over here. I'll spend 2 this month. So I've got 4 there again. That 2 goes over there. I'll get some more coming. And before you know it, over here, look at that. I've got like a little money pot growing there, mate. So does that make sense? You're going to keep adding money to another location. So in this example, those 3 accounts would have been instant access account, which is my bank account where I spend money from. I got savings account, which I was putting money in, and every now and again when I know there's too much there, I move it to a 3rd account which wasn't instant access, and I knew I'm not going to need that because I only spend that much this month. Make sense? Hopefully I'm explaining that in some type of situation, but it makes sense in my brain. Let me know in the comments if you don't. Again, all of this is available in a resource form. So I put all of these notes on my blog and on zulftalks.com. You basically go there. The first button says show resources. You click on that, put your email address in, and you'll get this link to the presentation that I used today, as well as the information. This will all be helpful because you'll see the topics I talked about in like note form, so you don't have to write it down, because it normally brings it back to mind when you see it written down. And to summarize today's episode, we looked at how savings accounts work, what a savings account is, the types of savings accounts that are available, how interest works very lightly. I might do a dedicated episode about how interest works, opening a savings account, how easy is it, managing a savings account, as well as the access to the funds, tax implications, especially if you're living in like the tax world, part of the countries like Australia, UK, New Zealand, America, most countries. Risks and considerations to think about as well. So these are all little elements to think about. However, in the next episode, we're going to be talking about what are the best ways to borrow money. So we're going to speak in that episode and cover why it's a good thing to think about, because in this episode we looked at savings, but not everybody has savings. It's a very tough time at the moment. So if you need to borrow some money, what's the best way to do that? And I speak more about that in this episode.
Zulf talks about it, making it easy for you. Working for yourself, go be your own boss. Working for yourself, Zulf will help you along. Working for yourself, powered by trusted creators. Zulf talks.